Finally, I'd like to welcome Katie Stitson to the stage. She is the UK Marketing Manager for EasyJet, and she looks after all direct marketing activities, including outdoor, desktop and mobile. I particularly want to welcome Katie today because you'll see when she gets on stage she's made a great effort to be here. So thanks, Nick, and welcome, Katie. Cheers.
As you can probably see, I'm 2 weeks off giving birth, so hopefully nothing will happen prematurely in the next 10 minutes, I can assure you. I'm well prepared. If it does, I have my notes with me, so all is well. I just wanted to talk to you for the next 10 minutes about mobile search, and specifically what we've done at EasyJet over the last 10 to 12 months, how we've approached it, some of the key insights, and what we're looking to do going forward. As you'll know, EasyJet as a business is a low-cost airline, and what that presents me with as a challenge on an ongoing basis within marketing is that we're very aggressive on cost, and we always have to work in an environment where we need to justify why we want to try and test new things. Our search account within the desktop arena is extremely successful and is something that we work very hard with our agency OMD and Google. But what we did notice, certainly over the last 8 months, was that we were seeing a significant increase in the number of mobile travel queries within the search platform. And we were having a discussion really about how we could leverage that, how we could enhance that, and how we could really look to develop our mobile search proposition. It was also really important for us because, as Nick's mentioned, business cases is something that as marketeers we have to do on an ongoing basis, and this, we were hoping the mobile search test that we did was going to actually enable us to look at building our business case for our mobile site. Finally, what we really wanted to understand with mobile search was how it differed from desktop, and what I mean by that is the actual customer behaviour. Was it different customers? Was it the same customer searching in different ways? And were they actually buying online? In terms of the test methodology, what we've done is we started running our mobile search account this year in February 2010, and really what we tried to do was to keep the test simple. It was really important for us to do that because our desktop search account is incredibly complex in terms of the way that we have it set up with a number of ad groups, but for us this was our initial test, so we wanted to keep things simple, and therefore we really only had 2 separate brand and destination terms split, and we had that running as a separate account. So this is not part of our desktop account, this is a separate Google EasyJet mobile search account. The key audiences that we were really trying to understand were business travellers and also EasyJet regular flyers, and what we mean by regular flyers are people that take 2 or more trips a year with EasyJet. And finally, all of the conversions and all of the data that we had, we tracked using Dart search. In terms of the top line results, some of this needs updating, but in terms of the first month, we saw over 330 seat sales in the first month, and that was probably more importantly was the fact it delivered an ROI of 11 to 1, which I can assure you is significantly higher than what we would see through our desktop account. Another interesting trend that we found, which was very important to us, was 38% of mobile bookings were within 10 days of departure, and that compares to 13% on desktop search. Why that's important to us is that that proves that that's incremental, so we're actually targeting an audience that we wouldn't have otherwise have reached through our desktop account. In terms of number of seats booked, we saw about 1.5 seats per booking on mobile versus 2 for desktop search. And mobile search delivered 6 times greater click-through on non-brand terms, which is really interesting because what it showed to us from a behavioural point of view was people were actually much more specific in their search at that point in time. They knew what they were doing. They weren't necessarily in a browsing mode. They actually had a specific need that they needed us to answer. Finally, in terms of from a transactional point of view, domestic routes were and continue to be within our search account the most popular routes searched online. So how have we used that data and what are we doing now? what it showed us and what it demonstrated is that there is a need for EasyJet to have a mobile search account, and that it needs to be separate from what we do on desktop. More importantly, it needs to have separate goals and objectives. So the way that we target and measure our agency for our desktop search performance is very different from the objectives we set on mobile search. Probably a good example of that is to say that over the last 6 months, the transactional side of our mobile search account has probably plateaued, whereas with the ash cloud, winter disruption and a lot of the travel queries that have come through over the summer are very much around cancellations, disruption, etc. So we've seen a behavioural shift, and it's important that our mobile search account evolves with that. We were able to use the insight and the data that we got from our search test to influence the business case for our mobile site. And our mobile site is now in the final stage of development and will launch by the end of this year. But probably the biggest takeaway that I'd like to leave with you is that it's all about test and learn. As a business, we are not of the view that we should wait until we have the all-singing, all-dancing mobile site or search account before we actually go into the marketplace. It's about launching with what we have, continually testing and learning and responding to the needs of the market. And I think that's really important for mobile, because we've heard a lot today about data that shows that potentially we're on the cusp and that the growth is going to be exponential. So now is a great time to make that investment, develop what you have, and then when that exponential growth does come, be in a position to really take advantage. So I hope you found some of that useful. Thank you for your time, and I'll hand over to Ian.